has taken over.
Let's go.
It's Ferrall.
Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money.
It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's held true since day one, from the jump, Carver High, into year 6 here, just making people fat stacks on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid as we go to hour 3 along with Mike. I'm Ferrall in New York City on a midweek Where Do You Hurt Wednesday. And I just saw Jackson Merrill with his new contract jack a 2-run shot to deep right, and the Friars are up 4-0 on Don't Call Me Blake Lively. You'll be sued.
Yes, 4-0 now for the Padres. Dylan Moore just hit a homer as well for the Mariners. So they get themselves now up 3-0 on the Tigers for Seattle. And the Mets have already taken a 1-0 lead in Miami. An RBI double for Pete Alonso has the Mets up there. And the Cubs have extended to 8-2. Yeah, 8-2 over the A's. And Suzuki had a second homer. He had a second homer in the game. This time was
a nice opening series in Sacramento for the A's.
Yeah,
what have they given up?
Smashed.
40 runs?
It's just about there, yeah. They're getting there since they gave up 18 the first night. They're getting a little close to that number. That's for sure. All right. Next, of course, we are still a couple days away from the Final Four. Everyone's starting to make their way down to San Antonio. Big weekend down there, as we know, a lot going on. Let's do a few things here. First, the spread numbers for all 4 teams this season. Who's the best of the 4? Florida, actually, 27-11 against the number this year. Duke 25-13, Auburn 21-16, and Houston 21-17 ATS so far this season.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I think that is the most irrelevant thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, I don't care what you did all year. I don't care what you did in the tournament. This is a whole different ball of wax. This is the, Final Four. This is 2 games on Saturday. Whoever wins goes to the championship on Monday. I do not think that carries weight with me. That Florida's got more covers than everyone. Florida's not the best team in this Final Four. They should have lost on the weekend. It was a miracle that they won that game. Let's face facts. I won't deny they got it done. And I picked them to get it done. And they did get it done. I'll give them that. Congratulations. But they should have lost. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? Duke is the best team. They're the best team. I think Houston is the second best team. And I got to tell you, I think Florida's going to find out the hard way how good Auburn is. So I don't care what those spread numbers say. They mean nothing to me.
LJ Cryer of Houston looking to do something no one's done before. First player to win a national title with 2 different schools. Cryer, of course, was part of the 21 Baylor team that cut down the nets and won the championship. I'll tell you this, he might be the first to do it, but in today's day and age, I'll bet you he won't be the last with how these guys are going to move around now. This is just the first of what will eventually be many guys who end up pulling off this feat.
Yeah, look, and I also, I thought he was great on that Baylor team, and Drew's a great coach and everything like that. But, this is a better team that he's on. It really is. And I still think they got their hands full with this Duke squad on Saturday. Like, I do think Houston can win. And I told you this earlier in the week. They got to play the perfect game. They don't shoot well enough for my money to just say, oh, they're going to beat Duke. Like, Duke shoots better than them. Duke plays better. They score more. They defend better. I think Houston, in my book, and I've said this 100,000 times, They're the second best defensive team in the country behind Duke. And I think that we're all getting shafted. I think it should have been Duke and Houston for the national championship, and it's not going to be. It's going to be, an SEC team against the winner of that great game. I think that game Saturday, I'm going to say it again, it's the game Saturday between those two is the national championship. Whoever wins that game will win the title.
Well, how about this for Houston? Did you know they are the 9th team in the last 60 years who's going to play a Final Four in their home state? Of course, they just got to go across state from Houston over to San Antonio. 7 of the previous 8 teams, they won that Final Four game on that Saturday. So playing close to home, which is actually fun because they got screwed last week. They had to go to Indy and play Purdue and Indianapolis and play Tennessee close to home. So now they're the team with a little home cooking.
Do you remember what he said about going back to Indiana, how little he cared about Indiana after he got screwed by Indiana University and the Hoosier faithful and the whole state of Indiana screwed Kelvin Sampson? He could give a rat's ass. I also don't believe for 1 minute that he gives a rat's ass that this game is in San Antonio. This guy is a pure baller coach who always puts his players first. I've always said that, I get it. There are great coaches. I will not deny coaching is involved in this. I will never deny that in college basketball, that coaching has a lot to do with it. But I still stand by the players have more to do with it. Players make the game. They're the ones that have to make the plays and win the game. They have to go out and do what the coaches say, but they have to finish. They have to score. They have to block shots. They got to get rebounds. They got to get stops. Players win the titles. Coaches get all the credit or all the blame. So I don't think Kelvin Sampson, he's always said, it's the players. It's not me. I don't do anything. But he said, I do one thing. I win 30-plus games every year I've been here.
That is what he does. He has got, I believe he said the other day, I've got a lifetime contract here. I'm going to coach till I'm done coaching. I'm going to do whatever I want to do.
He is a great coach. Indiana screwed up so bad with him, it's not even funny because they're all a bunch of hillbillies. They're all a bunch of farmers and hillbillies. You can quote me on that don't know what they're doing. They all think they're so smart. They're about as smart as 1987. That was so long ago, the last time they won, that I was there. That's how hillbilly your asses are in Bloomington. You screw everything up down there, you morons. This guy would have already won a national championship in Bloomington. He's going to win one in Houston and die trying because he's always there. Final Fours, Elite Eights. Where's Indiana? Picking their nose and eating corn. Shut up.
Nobody wants to be eating corn. Too. Nobody wants to be eating corn instead of playing corn in the Final Four. Last one here for this for our total players. Florida-Auburn is a very big number. It's 160.5. Since 85, there's been 15 numbers more than this. 10 of the 15 have gone under the number. Everyone's on the under, too, 71%. Now you know what that means. Up, and away. Probably not, because we were talking yesterday about the more physical senior-laden team in the big football stadium slowing down the high-powered team.
Yeah, I think they're going to get violent on Florida's ass, and they're going to bang, and they're going to take this into a half-court game, and I think it'll go under like all the rest of them did. But far be it from me to get involved in numbers of who's scoring what in big games and what the final score is going to be. All the geniuses around here that think they know the final scores of games. Okay, whatever.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
All right, Carver High. You know, I'm into this crown. I'm into the NIT. I was into the Anteaters game. You know, I'm a big buyer in the mocks, getting involved last night. The mocks over the Ramblers.
You got to be involved with the mocks. That's for sure. I was proud. You know how much I love the Anteaters, and they are now into the NIT championship. And they will play the Mocs of Chattanooga, who beat Loyola by 7. Anteaters won by a bucket. So you will get now the NIT championship at the Hinkle, which will be tomorrow night there. And Anteaters minus 3.5 early line for you. Anteaters.
Yeah.
It's probably.
I love the Anteaters as much as you do. But I also was more into UC San Diego and the Aztecs this year, so I never bet against the Mocs in big games. They always go to the tournament or tournaments, and they always do well. Chattanooga wins, and they win tournament games. That's all I know. And Irvine never does. I'm going to take the Mocs. Irvine will probably beat them. You'll be right. You'll win the bet. But I'll tell you what have I done through this entire tournament? I just keep hitting the mocks every night. Every night I take them and I win.
I think the Anteaters are going to win, but I think 3.5 might be a little bit too much. Go look at all the games the Anteaters have played in this tournament.
They've had to rally.
It seems like every one has been by a bucket. Like almost every game's been by a deuce.
Right.
So, I mean, I want the Anteaters to win, so I probably want, but the 3.5 with the mocks is probably the buy right now, honestly. If you just look at how everything has gone so far in this tournament. Now we also have the Crown. We had, of course, full slate of games the last 2 days. Now we're down into the quarters it would be. Now we only have 8 teams left. 4 of them will play tonight. Butler and Boise will be the first game at 7 East at the MGM Grand Garden, and then Nebraska and Georgetown after. So minus 6.5 here. This has actually been banged up to 8.5 now, I'm seeing. So 8.5 for it, and then Nebraska Georgetown is also a big number. 9.5 it's up to.
All right, so let's get real here for a second. Last night I hit Cincinnati. I hit Oregon State, even though UCF won by 1. I hit Villanova and I hit USC. Now I'm going to hit both of these games. Okay? Boise State is going to beat the shack out of Butler tonight. And then Georgetown will cover that fat 10-piece. And I think, these two are spitting images of one another. Cooley and Hoiberg. I think Cooley's a great coach. And I think that, they won by a bucket the other night. This is dangerous. I don't understand why. If you can explain it to me, Mike, it'll make me feel better about myself. Why is Nebraska favored by 10 over Georgetown when they are like the same team? They have the same record. Like they both sucked. They sucked in the Big East. They sucked in the Big Ten. That's why they're in this tournament. Let's not act like this is some kind of great Nebraska team. Like, let's calm down here. They didn't even make the Big Ten tournament.
It's true. They're not a great team. They didn't make the Big Ten tournament, and it seems like in both of these games, it's a lot of points. It's just it's a lot of gas here for this game. So,
but Boise State's legit, and Butler sucks. The only thing Butler has going for him is Thad Matta. That's it. They suck. They won 14 games. I mean, they're awful.
They did. They absolutely are. So you have some crown action for you tonight. And tomorrow is UCF Cincinnati, Villanova USC. So those are tomorrow's games at the Crown, which we will, of course, have time to discuss then. Cincinnati -6.5.
I was disappointed seeing the governor leaving in the airport today. Like, done for the year. That was his last game.
So he doesn't get any of – so they're having, I guess, the guys who did the night sessions, right. Kugler and Robbie Hummel, who are doing – so they send – man, that's upsetting.
Did you see the governor respond when I said, there he goes, the governor? And then he responded like he loves when Ferrall checks in. I have been friends with Tim Brando for 40 years. He is just the great salt of the earth, the greatest guy ever. He is the nicest guy ever.
He is the nicest guy ever. And I bet he was happy he got, away from the ranch for like 3 days to go to Vegas. He did get to leave the ranch for 3 days down in Louisiana.
Mike,
and go to Vegas for
I was going to say, there goes the governor. One last stop at the craps table. But I didn't think that would go over well with the governor based on him saying it was my last game of the year. And I'm like, craps, that word. I just said, there he goes, the governor. But I wanted to say, one last stop at the craps table on the way out of town. Is there anything like seeing the one guy win money at the airport slot machine either where you never win? There's nothing worse.
Yeah. The Aeropuerte, seeing them all heading out on the Aeropuerte for you. We'll start the hockey when we come back. Let me tell you what's going on here with all these baseball games because we do have some updates. The Giants now lead the Astros 5-1. 5-1 now for the Giants, looking for the sweep down in Houston. The Tigers have clawed back in. They were down 3-0 against the Mariners. Now at the 3-2, they got a homer from Sweeney and an RBI ground out from Riley Green to get the game to 3-2. Mets still lead 1-0 over the Marlins. 4-0 still Padres over Cleveland since the Merrill homer. 8-2 Cubs lead the A's in Sacramento. They go to the bottom of the 8th in Toronto, where the Jays lead the Nats 4-1. In that, and they're still waiting. Checking in about 4 hours now on this rain delay for the Twins and the White Sox.
Send everybody back into the city.
Yeah, it's probably like 5:30 East for the White Sox and the Twins. Look at Luke checking in with the first pitch
Weather
update.
report.
And that means, and it's probably cold and wet in Chicago today. There's probably about 15 people at that game today with a 4-hour rain delay. Friends and family only, and the friends and family didn't even show up for that game.
first time on a casino floor and feeling a little overwhelmed? Well, here's a tip. Lots of machines have a free demo mode you can try for practice. So give those slots a spin in practice mode before you start putting down some real cash. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through everything, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Now, I'm a little surprised Dylan Cease is rocking the Abe Lincoln beard. Seriously, like, you're living in SoCal. You got a cop raise. You got to get tan. Maybe a little tiny goatee or nothing at all. You got to take advantage of the sunshine. I mean, he looks like he's the Unabomber out there pitching on the mound. Like, what is happening here with this gigantic beard he's going with? Like, no one told him he looked bad at leaving the house, not even his kids, his wife, the cleaning lady. Nobody could tell him that he looks just horrific. This is San Diego, son. Clean that up, son. Clean that up. Get some rays, son. 11 SPF.
Clean that
son.
up.
Clean it up.
How about hockey?
Everybody loves hockey.
Everybody does love hockey. The Capitals beat the Bruins last night 4-3 up in Boston as they continue to run away and hide with the best record in the Eastern Conference. But obviously the story is Ovi lights the lamp again, number 891. That leaves him 3 away from tying and 4 away from breaking the all-time goal scorer record. It's a done deal. Now, they have got 8 games left. They have. And he needs 4 goals. 4 goals in 8 games. I keep going back to, they're playing the Islanders on Sunday.
That's a national TV game. It's going to happen right there.
National TV game on TNT Sunday afternoon. Now, they're going to put pretty much all his games, I would guess, going forward on national TV. Like, they're on TNT tonight. They're on NHL Network Friday, which, by the way, isn't really national TV. I mean, NHL Network. It's nice that they're even putting a game on. TNT, ESPN Plus, ABC, TNT. So they're going to try to. You're going to see the Ovi game, especially when he gets 1 away. You're going to get everything.
What's
Ovi's
more
going to be on every single
TVG
night.
TVG or NHL Network? Horse racing.
I would say TVG probably has a higher rating than the NHL Network. And we're not sitting here bashing hockey. We've talked about this for years. It's that they don't know how to run the channel.
They just don't cover hockey.
They just don't. They don't. The channel is, I don't know what they're doing with it. It's just it could be so much more. Having that proper, do the stuff that
they don't
NFL
spend
Network,
a penny
MLB
on
Network,
it, not a penny.
That's the thing. They spend no money on it, so that's where it goes. Elsewhere, last night, the Canadians beat the Panthers 3-2 in overtime for them. So significant For Suzuki with the overtime winner. So the Habs now with 79 points. They are 2 clear of Columbus, who beat Nashville 8-4 last night. They are 2 clear of the Rangers, and then they are 4 clear of Detroit, 5 clear of the Islanders, who have completely spiraled out of control with what they've had. Ever since they got shafted in that game last week against Columbus with that goal, they have gone completely downhill. Now, I don't know if you saw this quote from Waugh, and
it was great.
Listen, you got to call it out for what it is. Bad job by the Islanders cutting this part out of the press conference on their website. Bad job. They cut out all the Duclair stuff that Waugh did on the YouTube page, on everything. They cut it out. It edited it out, what Waugh said about Anthony Duclair. He was god-awful. He's lucky to be in the lineup. He had a bad game. That's why I didn't play him a lot. Sorry if I lose it on him right now, but that's how I feel. I mean, tell us how you really feel, Coach. He was god-awful.
Listen,
he said,
but everyone else got it, and everyone else got it, so it makes the franchise look pathetic, like they are pretending it never happened, but it did happen, and everybody else got wind of it, and everybody else reported it, and we're talking about it right now because it did happen, and the fact that they're acting like it didn't happen and they eviscerated it is really pathetic. I think the Islanders are pathetic.
Yeah, and look, that's how they've operated that way for a long time. They're very
Patrick
sensitive.
Waugh is, and they should have never hired him if they didn't have the stones to let him be who
Correct.
he is.
If you want a coach who speaks his mind, then you have to have a coach who speaks his mind. You can't then go and take out what he says when he speaks his mind after the fact. It's just not right to go and do that.
All-out players, and that's why they won 4 Stanley Cups. There's no, Andy ass, treat these guys like babies and give them bibs and mommy and milk. I mean, honest to Christ. Patrick Waugh is a great coach, and he tells it like it is. And if you don't like it, have a sandwich.
That's how it goes. We'll get to tonight's games after I talk to Brady Cannon about LIV Miami this week. That's it, baby.
First time on a casino floor and feeling a little overwhelmed? Well, here's a tip. Lots of machines have a free demo mode you can try for practice. So give those slots a spin in practice mode before you start putting down some real cash. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
And we are back for El Coast to Coast here on a Wednesday. It is a Golf Wednesday on C2C, and it is great to have Brady Cannon with us, of course, as we get ready, because not only is this the final tune-up for the PGA Tour this week at the Gasoline Tournament, the Valero Texas Open down in San Antonio, but it's the final tune-up for the LIV guys as well down at Miami. Just like last year, they scheduled the Miami stop right before the Masters, and in fact, Brady was a winner last year. He had the Dean, if I remember correctly, at Miami. So we're going to try to go back-to-back here for Brady on Coast to Coast. Brady, good to see you as always, my man.
Hey, great to be with you, Mike. Always a pleasure to do some LIV Golf Wednesday with you. And you're right, Miami, where we hit Dean Burmester last year, won that over Sergio Garcia in a playoff. And, you know, both of these golf courses are difficult, where they're playing the Valero, TPC San Antonio, and Doral, the Blue Monster. I would say the Blue Monster is even more difficult, but both are really good tests to get you ready for what is, the crown jewel in Augusta National. I'm looking forward to it. We love the LIV circuit here, being able to bet on it and everything like that. But when we play a golf course that we're very familiar with, like Doral, I really am fired up this week.
Yeah, I love it too, Brady, and I think that it's good for LIV. And we talked a lot about Valero already this week, and I'm going to talk to you about it tonight too on Carver and Lisi. And it's such a weird spot because you have guys who are tuning up for Augusta next week, the heavy guys at the top of the board, and then you got like 120 guys who don't have a ticket to the Masters that are trying to win and get in. Then you flip this to the LIV side of things, where you have, yes, a lot of guys who are going to be playing at Augusta next week, and you have guys who have no shot of being at Augusta next week. So interesting mindset here, because Brooks and Rahm and Bryson and all these guys, they're looking to get their game extremely sharp. How are you looking towards LIV Miami, knowing that you have all those Masters guys factoring in?
Yeah, it's a great question, Mike. And Brooks Koepka is a name that I recall from back in the day when he was on the PGA Tour, and we'd have something like the Valero Texas Open. You knew he didn't care about it. He was a good bet to miss the cut, because he just went there to get a couple practice swings, and he's making his way, to Georgia. It feels different. And he has said, he's come out and he said, I feel like my game's in a good place right now. He's getting close. I think he said he's been preparing for a major championship for about the last month. Of course, in Singapore, he finished runner-up. I actually have a bet on him to win the Masters already at 35-1. But I think he's not a bad play for this week either. And I have seen some sharp people land on Koepka. This is a big hitter's track, and that's why we went with the Dean last year, one of the longest players on the LIV circuit. 7,700 yards now, Mike, is what Trump Doral measures out to, the Blue Monster. Redesigned in 2014 by Gil Hanse, and they've been adding yardage, really, it seems like, ever since, and now just an absolute beast at 7,700 yards. 12 guys on the LIV circuit that are, in the field next week at Augusta. I got to believe, the Tyrrell Hattons and the John Rahms and DJ, these guys are trying to fine tune all the way up until the last minute. And if they find themselves in the hunt on Saturday or Sunday, they're going to try and turn this into a victory. I don't think anybody is out here really just for a glorified practice round. I think these guys are trying to add another victory to their resume.
Especially when you consider, Brady, that the payout for these things, it's like signature. It's more than signature events
right.
On the PGA Tour.
That's a big part of it.
It's less guys, and you're getting over $4 million if you come in first. So every single LIV event has such a big prize pool that, of course, we talked last week about Scotty and Rory. If they were in it late Saturday, would they try and win it? Well, I'd say Scotty tried to win it last week. He was in the mix, and this is the same deal here. I'm with you. I do like Brooks this week, because I don't think it's like a usual, TPC San Antonio PGA Tour stop. I think that he is so big on being sharp for these big events. I know I played him here last year and he didn't play well, but coming off how he played in Singapore, I'm going to go back to Brooks this week and try to get him through the winner's circle. What about you, Brady? Who do you like?
Well, I started with another very big hitter who has done well as of late, and that's Bryson DeChambeau. I took DeChambeau at 9-1. I also picked out some correlated courses to trump Doral. Harding Park, where they had the 2020 PGA Championship that Colin Morikawa won, and then Chapultepec, where they used to play the WGC Mexico for about 4 years. Those courses do set up similarly to trump Doral, and DeChambeau was fourth at Harding Park in 2020. He was runner-up in 2020 at the WGC Mexico at Chapultepec. He is third on the LIV circuit in driving distance and seventh in accuracy. Seventh at Doral Miami last year, sixth at Riyadh to start the year, and then 10th a couple weeks ago in Singapore. So I like DeChambeau at 9-1 as one of the short price guys. Sergio Garcia got a win with him a few weeks ago in Hong Kong. I'm going to go back to the well with Sergio. You could argue he's playing better than anybody else on the LIV Tour right now. Took him at 16-1. I don't think he's an awful play at 125-1 to win the Masters. Might do that again the way he's going right now. But number one in driving accuracy on the LIV, 8th in greens and regulation, 10th in birdies, 4th in scrambling. He was a monster at Chapultepec back at those WGC Mexicos. Lost in a playoff here last year to Dean Burmester. And then finally, my long shot, 30-1, another big hitter, Carlos Ortiz, 16th at Chapultepec in 2020, runner-up recently in Australia at Adelaide, and just a couple weeks ago, won the International Series in Macau to earn himself a spot in the British Open. So a victory, gets himself a spot in the Open, good form right now, 17th on LIV in driving distance, 10th in birdies.
You know, it's funny, Brady, because I saw Sergio a couple weeks ago in the 170, 180s for the Masters.
Wow.
And I was thinking about it. I'm going, you know, he's played real good golf the last calendar year. We hit him last year in Spain. We hit him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know, we've been good with Sergio here. Do you think he'll be in the mix next week? He's won there. Guys that have won there know that place so well. Do you think Sergio will be around?
I think it's the best golf we've seen him play in at least half a dozen years or more.
Yeah.
The problem with Sergio at the Masters, I think it was 2017 that he won. Ever since then, he has missed the cut every year except for once. And I think he finished 25th or something like that. It wasn't spectacular. So he's missed the cut like 6-7 times in the last 8 years or so. But boy, he's playing good right now. You just wonder, is he going to be able to get that monkey off his back where he can finally make a cut again, let alone win? It's hard you can't argue the form. He's playing as well as anybody in the world.
I don't think I'd go so far as to bet him outright, but I think he'll be on my card next week for a 20 or a 40. I think that I'm going to find a way, just because of how well he's played, especially if he plays well this week as well and backs it up. Brady, quickly, give me one play for San Antonio for our coast-to-coast listeners. And tonight on Carver and Lisi, we'll go through your full card for the event. You can get it there. But tell us one guy you like for San Antonio.
Well, the shortest shot I took this week, I did not go right to the top of the board with Oberg or Connors or Fleetwood or Spieth or any of those guys. But I took a crack with Denny McCarthy at 30-1. This guy lost in a playoff to Batia last year. He's got 2 additional top 20s here at TPC San Antonio. He's already in the field for the Masters, but I think he's going to be focused on trying to get his first PGA Tour victory this week.
Yeah, he let me down. I think I had him in that playoff last year against Batia. And I've had McCarthy in a couple playoffs he's lost over the past few years. So I would like to see Dangerous Denny get involved. I did play him for a first rounder. Brady, great job as always. I'll see you tonight. Carver and Lisi, Brady will stop by, give his full card for San Antonio, and we'll probably talk a little bit more LIV Miami and Masters. Brady Cannon with us on Coast to Coast. We're back right after this.
a casino floor and feeling a little overwhelmed? Well, here's a tip. Lots of machines have a free demo mode you can try for practice. So give those slots a spin in practice mode before you start putting down some real cash. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, so we're going to still get back to hockey here after the Vegas golfer, the Las Vegas golfer himself, Brady Cannon, our boy, getting involved with the LIV. But we're back to hockey, Carver High, because, as you know, everybody loves hockey.
Everybody does love hockey, that's for sure. Why don't we start quickly? I wanted to throw these at you, some of the best and the worst, with the money lines so far this year as we head down the stretch. Right now, Capitals, best in the business, 14.4 units. Ducks, how about the Ducks second at 11.5 with some of those big prices that they've hit at. Jets and the Canadians also on the top. As far as the worst goes, no one's going to catch Nashville. Minus 25.1 units, but the Bruins are going to try. They're at 17.9. So are the Sharks and the Blackhawks.
Yeah, I just can't fathom really what's happened to the Boston Bruins. And then they had big plans this year in Nashville with the Predators, Stamkos, and all of their lofty expectations went down the toilet.
Lofty expectations do go down fairly quickly. As far as to win the East and the West in the NHL, East right now, still the Panthers at the top, followed by Hurricanes, Capitals, Lightning, and Leafs. And then as far as the Western Conference goes, the Stars are now the favorite, 3-1, with the Avalanche, Oilers, Knights, and Jets right behind them.
Yeah, I got to tell you, this Capitals team blows my mind, and I think they'll jump the Hurricanes in my book, and I think they're the team that can give the Panthers the hardest ride in the East.
Yeah, I think that they're the team that could probably give them I'm still on, the Panthers not going back to 3 in a row. I just don't see them being in the finals for the third consecutive year. It's just a little bit too much for me to go after. All right, tonight, 5 games in the NHL. Let's see what we have. We will start with Minnesota, who's at the Garden against the Rangers. Rangers minus 164 tonight. Wild plus $1.35. 5.5 the total.
Well, I got to tell you, the Rangers have been pathetic at home. They really have been terrible on home ice. So I'm willing to take the Wild here tonight and take that big price if it pays off. They're playing better hockey than the Rangers are these days. The Rangers are in big trouble. So, and they don't win at home. You would think they would, but they don't. That's just all there is to it.
That is all there is to it for them so far. Two best teams in the Metro. Washington and Carolina getting together as Ovi trying to get a little bit closer. Only 4 goals to go. They are in Raleigh. Minus 220 for the Canes tonight. Plus 180 for the Caps at a 5.5.
I'll give the Canes this one tonight, and I'd be willing to probably puck line it based on the Capitals playing last night and getting it done and then having to go there and play this team. I do think the Capitals are going to go further in the playoffs, but this is, we're not in the playoffs yet. This is a game in Raleigh after they played last night. Ovi needs 4. That's all they're focused on. I think the Canes can get this one tonight.
Big game tonight in Toronto. Only 2 points separate the top 3 teams in the Atlantic Division. Toronto's got 94. Tampa's got 93. Florida's got 92. They've all played 74 games, and the Panthers and the Leafs get together tonight. Leafs, and this is actually now pick'em, straight pick'em, minus 110 both ways, and a 5.5 total.
I'll take the Leafs. I saw, the Panthers lose at the Bell Center, and I took the Canadians, and they won that game. And I'll take the Leafs tonight at the Scotiabank north of the border.
The heavy lumber game of the night is in Chicago, where the Avalanche are now up to minus 4 Bills against the Blackhawks. Minus 4 Hundy, plus 310 for Chicago, and a 6.5.
Yeah, I'm going to have to puck line this and pay the difference at minus $1.45 with the Avs over the Blackhawks. The Blackhawks are terrible, and I even think the Avs will score a bunch of goals here, and it'll go over the 6.5.
I think that it will do that as well. And finally, the Kraken, smoked Kraken, are in Vancouver, across the border at the Canucks. Canucks tonight, minus $1.50. Plus 125 for Seattle and a 5.5.
Yeah, look, they're so desperate to win. I think I'll puck line it, lay the 1.5, and get a fat $1.70 if it hits. They have to win this game. So go out and bust some ass and win the game by a couple goals or more. Don't F around with the Kraken.
Can't F around with the Kraken, that's for sure. That is your night in the NHL. We're almost there. There's only like a couple of weeks left. I believe 2 weeks. I just want to ask
you your opinion on the West, because we talked about the East and the West.
Through it fast.
I saw those odds before of who's going to win the Western Conference, and the best odds and everything in the West. Who do you think is going to come out of that? Because I think it's going to be phenomenal. They have the Stars on top. I think the Avs are so dangerous. I still think the Oilers and Vegas Knights are good, but the Jets getting no love, and they have been phenomenal, and their goalie is sickening, Hellebuck.
Jets are getting no love. I think it's the Jets or Colorado. Those are the two that I'm looking at. I know that the Jets, Winnipeg needs to prove it. They've had problems getting out of the first round the last couple of years with Hellebuck, but they're going to get now. St. Louis is actually past Minnesota now, so I thought they might have to play St. Louis. But St. Louis keeps winning games, and at this point, it's Minnesota who they'd play in the first round. They got to beat Minnesota in the first round. You cannot, under any circumstances, have a huge regular season and then completely pike in the first round against the second wild card. I think if the Jets get through that, I think that'll ease them up a little bit, and they'll be good to go after that against these other heavies.
And listen, the Stars have multiple players scoring in droves. This Robertson has been scoring in droves. They got all kinds of guys producing.
Yeah.
They got great goaltending. I think these Western Conference playoffs are going to be absolutely sensational, just like in the NBA West.
time on a casino floor and feeling a little overwhelmed? Well, here's a tip. Lots of machines have a free demo mode you can try for practice. So give those slots a spin in practice mode before you start putting down some real cash. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, everybody loves leftovers, so I'll do the leftovers today just for the sake of it. The Eagles owner, Jeff Lurie, praising Nick Sirianni and hinting at a long-term extension in Philadelphia with the Eagles. Well, why the hell wouldn't they give it to him? They just won the Super Bowl, right? I mean, are they not winning Super Bowls now? Are they not one of the best teams and the best team in the NFL year after year? They just got it done. They just knocked off Mahomes and beat his ass in the Super Bowl in Nolans, did he not? If anyone deserves it, it's Nick Sirianni. And meanwhile, he's the guy that's a lunatic, screaming at fans, arguing with the media, arguing with players, arguing with coaches on the sideline. But they're going to give him the deal, and they're going to give him the money, and he's not going anywhere from the Eagles. The Chiefs have asked the NFL to make them a permanent fixture on Christmas Day. Like the Lions and Dallas on Thanksgiving, the Chiefs apparently want to play on Christmas. Well, why not? They just beat the snot out of the Steelers in Pittsburgh last Christmas. Why wouldn't they want to do it to everyone with this quarterback they have, Mr. Mahomes? The Chiefs are considered the top choice, by the way, to face the Chargers in Week 1 in Brazil. Six-time Pro Bowler Calais Campbell signs a one-year deal to go back to Arizona. By the time I get to racially profiled Arizona, of course, he started his career in Zona, and now he's going to end his career in Zona. Calais Campbell getting involved with the Arizona Cardinals. Stephen Jones says the Cowboys are looking for an explosive number 2 wide receiver to pair with CeeDee Lamb in Dallas. Well, who isn't looking for a second wide receiver to pair with their best wide receiver on every team in the NFL? The Steelers just went out and did the same thing for Mr. Pickens in getting DK Metcalf involved with Pittsburgh. The Patriots will induct Bill Parcells into their Hall of Fame. Apparently, the divorce is over. They're now getting along with the ex, as the owner, Bob Kraft, and Parcells are apparently friendly again, and they'll make Parcells a legend in Foxborough. How about this? Carmelo Anthony, a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's getting into Springfield on the first try. An illustrious career at Syracuse and in the NBA, no doubt about it, and particularly with the New York Knicks at the Garden. A lot of all-star games, a lot of threes, a lot of buckets, a lot of scoring, and now he's going into the Hall of Fame. Terrell Suggs, sentenced to probation in a case where he allegedly waved a gun at a man in a Starbucks. Guess he wasn't very happy with his coffee and the barista. Everyone loves going to Starbucks in the morning for their fuel, including Uncle Futrelli, but only when I'm on the road. Very upsetting, actor Val Kilmer passes away at 65. I thought Val Kilmer was a great actor in a lot of different movies. I loved him as, playing, Jim in the Doors. I mean, obviously, I thought he was great as Batman. Salton Sea. I thought the guy was great in a ton of movies. Of course, Tombstone, Doc Holliday. He was brilliant in that. And it just never ended. I thought he was great in Top Gun, too. Val Kilmer gone too early at 65. He'd been sick forever. For all the finish, a North Carolina woman charged with murdering a missing Green Beret, her husband, whose body was found mutilated after he asked for a divorce. Can people just get a divorce? What do you have to do? Mutilate and murder them after they ask for a divorce? Can't you just get a divorce and go your separate ways? Apparently not. She mutilated him, allegedly. A barefoot brute stabs a man with a kitchen knife in a New York City apartment and then runs off with no pants. Take off your pants. Didn't we used to have a bumper with that, Mafia? Take off your pants. GTD is next with the mayor of Miami. Get my app, search Ferrall. We'll see you tomorrow at 3 on Coast to Coast.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. You studied the stats. You had the perfect bracket until your upsets turned into regrets. SportsGrid rides the highs and lows of every buzzer beater, bracket buster, and Cinderella story.
The Big Ten Freshman of the Year!
Our team brings you sharp insights, real-time reactions, and all the madness. Only on SportsGrid.
If you look at how the men and women did it, the men, the portal opened up the day after the round of 32. Same thing with the women. Men on Monday, women on Tuesday. Why can't they just do the day after the national championship game when the season ends, next season begins, then you open up the portal. All teams have completed play. All bets are off.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.